Hey everyone, it's Hannah the Omaha Introvert. Today we're talking all about buying used records online. The pros, the cons, how I buy them, where I buy them, some bumps I've experienced along the way. So this video is more geared towards vinyl newbies. More seasoned collectors already know this information, but I thought I would try to reach, a wider audience and maybe try to help some newbies out. So if you're a loyal subscriber to my channel, this may not be the video for you, but I appreciate you being here still. So let's dive into it. I've been buying vinyl records on a more serious level since January 2018, and that's kind of when I started this channel. And before that, I was mostly just all into CDs. I was buying CDs, I was collecting CDs. I primarily grew up in the 90s, so CDs were just the thing. Now I'm just head over heels for the vinyl, and I bet you are too, and that's why you're watching this video. Before I kick this off, I want to mention how important it is to invest in some type of cleaning device for your records. If you're buying a lot of used records, you already notice how dusty and dirty they can be, so it's important to clean every single record, especially used, before you put it on the turntable. Personally, I clean every single record I buy before I play it, new and used. If it's new, you still get the plastic bits, from the paper or the factory. So in order to prolong the life of the needle, your turntable, your records, it's just smart to clean them all before you first play them. I started with the Spin Clean. There's more affordable knockoff versions of the Spin Clean, but now I use a Record Doctor 6 and I just love it. So let's talk about the pros and cons of buying used records online. The first pro would be convenience. You're saving time, you're shopping from the comfort of your own home. Since the pandemic, it seems people are shopping online more than ever, and buying records is no exception. The second plus to buying used records online is that you can track down the harder to find titles, the more obscure titles you've been looking for. This really helps me. So I tend to buy a lot online because the titles I'm after now, like a lot of 80s alternative or post-punk, I just cannot find them out in the wild. Another pro to buying used records online is that you can do your research. You can hop around to different websites, you can compare prices, like what is this used record selling for on eBay compared to Discogs. And that way, you can save a few bucks. So I really like doing my research and having that extra time, and then I can get what I really want and not break the bank. All right, so the last pro I'm going to be talking about is you can avoid impulse buying. Not always, but when I'm shopping in the wild, I do a lot of my impulse buying that way, and at record shows, it's like, ooh, I never thought I'd see that, so I need that. I'm going to buy it now. Whereas, if you're shopping online, you have a specific list in your mind. You know what you're going to buy. You're going to type that in a search engine, so you can avoid a lot of filler when you purchase online. That can save you money. Let's talk about the cons, the negatives, and there are quite a few. The first obvious one is that you're most likely going to have to pay a shipping charge when you buy online. Not always. Like, I know sometimes the sellers on eBay will say free shipping, but they may just bump their price up a little bit to counteract that shipping charge. So just be aware of that. Shipping has gone up quite a bit. Some people are charging like $5 to $7 just to ship one record nowadays, and I hate that, but I also understand it. They're taking the time to package it properly, get it ready for you, ship it. So yeah, I just noticed the prices have been just crazy, as with everything else right now. So when you buy online, you're most likely going to have to pay a shipping fee. To go along with that is packaging. So not everyone knows how to package a record properly. And I'm going to share an example of a record I received that was just packed in the worst way. And I know a lot of you have experienced this as well, and it sucks. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. The third con, and probably the biggest pet peeve of mine when buying used records online, is grading discrepancies. Not everyone knows how to grade a record, unfortunately. There's a lot of amateurs out there who think they know how to grade, but apparently they don't, and what you get in the mail is not as described. This has happened to me a few times, and it happened to me recently. Whenever I do trades, and I do trade somewhat frequently, I try to use gold mine grading. I'll leave a link below to exactly what that is. It explains everything, you know, VG minus, VG, VG plus, near mint, all of it. I think this is what trips a lot of sellers up, and it's unfortunate. So what's graded as near mint may actually be a VG when you get it. This is extremely aggravating and frustrating to me. This has happened to me on a couple of occasions, not too often. So it is risky buying online, and you don't get to see detailed pictures of exactly what you're buying in most cases. I like to see pictures. Some of these apps don't offer pictures of what you're getting, which that's another pet peeve of mine. Personally, I only buy records that are graded VG plus or better. It just kind of ensures that you're gonna get quality, hopefully, but again, there's no guarantee. So just waiting for the record in the mail, I guess that could be a con. You know, we live in an era where everyone wants instant gratification. So, you know, waiting a week or two or more, a lot of people just don't want to do that. Let's move on to the well-known hubs where you can buy used records online. Many of you are familiar with these, but I first want to just mention and reiterate, avoid Amazon for used records, please, okay? I use Amazon frequently for new stuff. I use Prime. Getting new records from Amazon can be great, although I've heard some horror stories of Amazon shipping records in totally incorrect packaging. It hasn't happened to me, but it has happened, so be aware of that. But for used records, it seems like third-party sellers really take advantage of buyers. The prices for used records just seem really inflated on there, even for CDs too. Some CDs, I don't know, I saw a CD the other day, it was like $900 some, and I'm just like, that's not right. Like, what's going on here? So I would definitely avoid Amazon for buying used records, and you just don't get that detailed description of the record. You may even get the wrong pressing, or it's hard to see exactly what pressing you're getting. Let's talk about eBay first. I love eBay. I love bidding on auctions. I've lost plenty of auctions. That's just part of the deal, but I've gotten some great buy it now record lots from eBay. So yeah, eBay is probably my number one choice for buying used records. And that's just me personally. It may be different for you. It's all good, man. So before you click that buy button on eBay, you want to look at the seller ratings. You want to know what other people are saying about products they've purchased from the seller in the past. Do they have all positive ratings? Do they have some negative? Like, if they have negative, what's that about? Was it because the item was not as described? If it's not as described for used records that they've sold, that's a very bad sign, and that's kind of your ticket to leave right now and just not buy from them if their items are not as described, because they're scamming you. So here's a mistake I made when buying a used record off of eBay, and this happened to me last year, and it was, you know, it was my mistake, right? I didn't look at the seller ratings. They really had not sold records at all before I bought this one. So I bought Tom Verlaine's Dreamtime for a steal. I don't remember how much it was. It was like $6 or something. However, when it arrived, I have a couple pictures to show here. The seller wrapped it in like a single layer of bubble wrap. Then on top of the bubble wrap was just a brown paper bag around it. So there was no stiffeners. There was no proper record box. It was packaged just in the worst way possible for shipping a record. So of course, when it arrived on my doorstep, the record was cracked. It was unplayable. So I immediately brought this to the seller's attention. I sent pictures in my message, like I just let them know, hey, you know, this was damaged, you know, why wasn't this packaged properly? They sent me a full refund, so that was resolved. It was still a pain having to deal with that. That was probably the most negative experience I have had on eBay. So lots of sellers on there are selling records, but they just don't know what they're doing. So just be aware of that. And there's a risk with any of these sites. There's a risk with buying anything online, as I said before. Discogs is next, and I love Discogs, but not so much for buying records on there. And if you're unfamiliar with Discogs, Discogs is the site for everything records. Anything related to records, it's on Discogs. So you can sell records on there, you can buy records, you can catalog your collection, you can do research on different pressings. Like, it's just an amazing tool. I use it almost every day. I'm in the process of cataloging my collection, but that's been years that I've been trying to do that. And I do little by little, but it's a task, it's a chore. So I've bought some records on Discogs that have been very hard to track down otherwise. So that's what I use Discogs for if I'm buying. It's for the very obscure records or CDs that I don't see on the regular. Discogs is a fantastic option for that. It's really nice that you can narrow down your search of a record by year, by country. I love that option with Discogs. You can really dig deep and find the exact pressing you need. I've had kind of a rather shocking experience that happened to me just within the last few months, and I found this baby on there. This is a Scandinavian pressing, The Church, one of my favorite bands, The Blurred Crusade. This is a very hard to find record, at least in my area, and I've never even seen it in a record store, you know, during all of our travels even. So, yep, Scandinavian pressing. I was so excited about this. You know, I was like, yes, I found this record for a decent price. It was listed as near mint, so I had high hopes. I had high hopes for this. However, when it arrived, I'll show you. It was really dusty, and I'm just wondering if the seller just looked at the dust and figured, well, you know, it's dusty, but it's near mint. I don't really think this is gonna come through on camera. Yeah, do you see that scratch right there over here? Kind of where the light is, the ring light. That's a scratch I can feel with my fingertip. That is a scratch, like a real scratch. All right. And there's a small one on the other side too. Oh, I can't tell you how disappointed I was. Okay, especially when it was listed and sold as near mint. All right. And I have a picture of the little description, how the seller listed it, and obviously that's not what I got there. So once again, I immediately went on Discogs. I messaged the seller. I wasn't able to send pictures on there, but I told the seller, hey, I can email the pictures to you if you'd like. The seller was really cool about it, and this is like 100% seller. Like their rating, their score is 100%. That's why I was so shocked, you know, because I did check out their profile and everything before I bought this record. So they apologized. They sent me a full refund. I didn't even have to ship the record back to them, which was nice. It's best that you just reach out to the seller first. So if it's a legit issue, they'll most likely issue you a refund. You just have to explain what the problem is. So as for this, back to square one. So another place I buy used records online are the Facebook vinyl groups. And I belong to 3 or 4 of them. One of them is called Sell, Trade, Buy Vinyl Records. To me, this is the riskiest option. I've had mostly good experiences, mostly good. A few where the grading was off, but nothing major where I needed to reach out to the seller and get a refund or have to return anything. But I don't know, since there's not a ton of oversight on those groups, I feel it's a very risky option. And I made some great lasting contacts on those Facebook groups. Like there's a contact I know in New York and a contact I know in Arkansas who kind of know my want list and they keep an eye out for me, which is really nice. So the Facebook groups, you know, there's pros and cons. All right, the last thing I want to mention is if your local store does the vinyl flip videos, like via social media. So I know Homer's here in town, they do the used new arrival videos. So they'll flip through the new used records they've received in the store and they let people hold records if they see something they like, which is just an awesome option. So yeah, you're buying online, right? But the store is holding it for you, and you can go in and support your local store and pick it up. All right, thank you so much for watching my video. I hope it was helpful. I hope I helped some of you in terms of where you can buy records, like the pros and cons, making you aware of the risks. Oh, by the way, RIP Chris Bailey of the Saints. He just passed away over the weekend, which was very sad, and that one stings. Like, he was a favorite. What a talent, right? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I have a fines video coming up next. In terms of my move, it's going well. I will be all moved out of here by May 1st, most likely sooner than that. I just ordered 2 more IKEA shelves. I just ordered a rotating CD shelf of sorts. So things are happening. Things are moving with my move. You know, I know some of you were asking me about that. So thank you so much again, and I will see you for the next video. Cheers. Bye.